Emotional bonding in anxious-avoidant relationships is one of the hardest to navigate. The anxious person pulls closer because they're desperate for connection, and the avoidant person pulls away, suffocated by too much connection, going too fast for them. This is because the avoidant partner's brain is wired to resist exactly the thing that an anxious person needs most: emotionally intimate connection. If you're an anxious woman dating an avoidant man, you might worry that your relationship is doomed because nothing you do seems to work to establish the bond you crave. But did you know that your avoidant partner's oxytocin receptors are blocked? The very hormone responsible for bonding and connection is being chemically suppressed in their body and their brain. The confounding variable in this equation is not you, like your anxious attachment style will tell you it is. It's not even really them. The problem is your relationship is running on the wrong fuel. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and today I'm revealing the 5 scientifically backed secrets to creating genuine connection with an avoidant partner, even when their biology is fighting against it, and it will at first. If you're stuck in that painful cycle where you feel intensely connected while your partner seems emotionally distant, you're experiencing the classic anxious and avoidant trap. This cycle isn't just emotional, and you need to really understand that. The cycle is neurochemical. First as a psychotherapist specializing in attachment and trauma, and now as a relationship coach helping people all over the world to repair their relationships, I have helped thousands of people break this cycle. Today, I'm sharing 5 powerful strategies that create real lasting bonds by working with both of your biology, not working against it. So let's look at the science first so that you understand exactly what's happening beneath the surface before I show you how to fix it. Here's the science of secure attachment. Now, in secure relationships, oxytocin bonding follows a natural progression. When 2 securely attached people come together, they spend the first 2 to 3 months in deeper and deeper conversation. And as they grow to trust and respect each other through consistent sharing and verifying what's shared between them, their systems are building an oxytocin bond. That's the hormone responsible for affection and a desire for closeness, among other things. This process also releases significant levels of serotonin into their brains, creating long-term satisfaction and contentment, plus elevated mood, especially associating that warm feeling with that other person. They also receive healthy dopamine hits every so often, every time that they take another step closer, and that rewards the connection and floods their system with feel-good chemicals. As oxytocin builds, it triggers GABA release, which suppresses cortisol, your stress hormone. This is why being with the right person literally feels calming to your nervous system. You enter your parasympathetic state where real connection flourishes because you're producing serotonin at much higher levels. Typically, in healthy relationships, secure men tend to fall in love faster, while secure women develop connection more gradually. Why? Well, it's because women are biologically predisposed to seek stability and consistency, which takes longer to verify. They're also seeking a partner who's going to help them co-create a life that aligns with their personal values. When I work with couples, I tell them that women aren't actually committing to the man in the relationship. They're committing to his vision and purpose, which aligns with hers. Women commit to vision and then devote themselves to the man who embodies it so that they can co-create that vision together. This does not mean that women don't love men, but healthy and secure women prioritize their larger vision, especially the well-being of the family that they're creating. The man is not their purpose in life, if that makes sense. Now, over time, this oxytocin bond the couple has built together grows richer and fuller and more consistent. It's not the intense roller coaster from the beginning, but a steady and predictable flow of neurological safety signals. And this keeps you content, fulfilled, and healthy. And when challenges arise, as life throws curveballs at the couple, it certainly does, vasopressin is released as they solve problems together, which then triggers even more oxytocin as the couple reunites in passion after resolving problems as a team, creating what I call multiple honeymoons throughout your relationship. This is why secure couples can maintain passion for decades in repeated cycles, defying the stereotype of marriage as a passionless experience. This is also why secure couples don't experience the same intense temptations for infidelity or loneliness from emotional disconnection as anxious avoidant pairs do. But here is where it all falls apart in the anxious and avoidant pairings. Avoidant people operate primarily in their sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode. This blocks their oxytocin receptors by nature because their system is flooded with cortisol. This is an inappropriate time to get sentimental and affectionate because they're constantly trying to survive. It's a safety mechanism that turns on automatically. They can't chemically bond the same way that secure people do due to chronic stress and hyper-independence. Instead, they connect, and I hesitate to say that loosely, but they connect through dopamine association, the same neurotransmitter that's triggered for good food or gambling. I call this the cheeseburger effect. They don't tend to fall deeply in love with a person. Their brain tags that person as a positive feeling in their life and then keeps returning for short-term satisfaction. They enjoy you, but they don't bond with you. There's a dopamine association that keeps him coming back, but dopamine is not the proper bonding hormone. They might even have multiple dopamine associations with various casual partners and go back and forth between them based on convenience, which makes it tough to pin them down into a committed relationship where they feel there's no benefit to them, as monogamy in particular requires oxytocin for it to be satisfying and fulfilling. Now, I want to be clear. This does not mean people with avoidant tendencies are sociopaths. It does not mean they're all out to use and hurt other people. Generally, their understanding of relationships is we get together, we respect each other's dignity, we exchange dopamine back and forth until it burns out, and then we go our separate ways. That's most ethically avoidant people. That's what they're looking to do. More manipulatively avoidant people, yes, they're looking to get dopamine use, sometimes at other people's expense, and sliding off that scale towards sociopathic tendencies is possible. But the majority of avoidant people you're going to work with in relationships like this who will actually get into some kind of relationship with you, not likely to be toward that end of the spectrum. Instead, they're here to give and receive good feelings back and forth till the well dries up. Then you move on to the next well. That's usually how they tend to view relationships, which is why the idea of deep, intimate, monogamous, lifelong partnering sounds confusing to them because it sounds like it's impossible to do. Now, meanwhile, anxious people are desperately chasing that oxytocin bond while getting hooked on the dopamine hits from something called intermittent reinforcement. That's the unpredictable nature of their partner's attention. They fall desperately in love from the dopamine reinforcement and the oxytocin bonding they're doing, but they end up mistaking the dopamine-driven intermittent reinforcement for a soulmate connection. We were meant to be together. Over time, the anxious partner becomes obsessed with getting those hits, craves more closeness, and sets off the avoidant partner's defenses by pushing closer and intruding, usually at the time when the avoidant partner's novelty dopamine is falling off a cliff and the receptors are burning out and the well is going dry. Now their partner comes toward them and says, I need so much more. I am ready to get married. I'm ready to have children. I'm ready to live my life with you. And the avoidant person says, I have never been less attracted to you. It's gone for me. And they're pulling away. That's what pushes the avoidant person away as well. Their amygdala response in their brain says this much closeness is dangerous. People can hurt me when they're in this close, and especially if our desires are mismatched. They might try to take from me something that I'm not willing or can't give them, and that's dangerous. So they begin to pull back as well. Now, usually this pattern remains subtle for the first few months, and everything's acceptable because they're both still getting their chemical fixes. But around that 5 to 7 month mark, the novelty dopamine falls off a cliff for the avoidant partner, and they think, I don't feel much of anything anymore. But the anxious person says, I've never been more in love. Let's get married and have children together. And this is where the relationship really starts to deteriorate and eventually fall apart. Now, the different bonding mechanisms between the anxious and avoidant partners creates painful push-pull dynamic where one person is always chasing while the other is always retreating. This is, I feel unsafe in this relationship. The avoidant person won't say unsafe. I don't feel like I'm going to get my needs met, and your increasing needs are terrifying to me. Eventually, this is a disaster. I'm going to back away. Also, I'm stressed out and don't know how to manage that, and I don't know what to do about you, so I'm backing off. And the anxious person says, oh no, I'm being abandoned again, like I felt abandoned as a child. It's true, I'm not worthy of love. Please, please, please don't confirm that terror. I promise I'll be good. And they rush toward the avoidant person, who then says, oh no, someone's coming to smother me with their emotions again, just like in childhood. I'm out of here. And they start taking off. Then the anxious person freaks out again. And it's this endless cycle till eventually the anxious person collapses. They're crying, they're exhausted, they're miserable. The avoidant person slowly comes down in cortisol and then comes back. Then they pretend nothing happened, usually. And then they just kind of try to go on and on and on. I'm going to be clear. This cycle is painful for both parties. Ethical avoidants especially do not want to hurt people. And the nurturing anxious attachment style don't understand what they're doing that's driving this perceived abandonment. Neither side is bad. Neither side is awful. Neither side is particularly manipulative, although some of these tactics kind of cut close to the line, but it's not intentional or malicious or unkind. This is the process where most people feel stuck, and it can seem hopeless at times. But I want you to know right now, as you're watching this, there is a proven solution that works. This dynamic can work when you both know how to unblock the oxytocin receptors for the avoidant partner to start bonding them effectively with you. This also allows them to feel fulfillment and connection for the first time in their life, which gives them the taste of peace that they've always been seeking. Avoidant people are looking for peace. Like I said, they won't say safety, peace. They can rest their nervous system in the presence of their partner and finally feel at ease, which is truly what they've actually been seeking in their life. And it all starts with proper oxytocin bonding. So it's time to learn how to make oxytocin bonding work for you. I want to take a moment to invite you to my attachment immersion retreat, the first week of May up in Vail, Colorado, where I'm going to be training and teaching and then practicing attachment skills, relationship skills, and all the communication skills you need to build an incredible relationship. If you want to learn more about this and join me, please check out my website, adamlanesmith.com. There's a retreat link right on there. So here in this video right now, I'm going to show you the 5 secrets to creating genuine oxytocin bonding in an anxious and avoidant relationship. Secret number 1, create a peaceful emotional environment. Since oxytocin receptors are blocked when the sympathetic nervous system's activated, your first priority is creating calm. For the avoidant partner, who's often men, and all of this process will work for avoidant women as well. I want to make that clear. A lot of you guys in the comment section ask that. They don't necessarily want safety. That word might make them uncomfortable. Their world is unsafe. Nothing is safe. What they want is peace. What they need is an environment where a couple things happen. Everybody is self-regulated. Their emotions are calm. So you can come together and co-regulate and even vasopressin bond by solving problems together in peace. The research shows that about 70% of a healthy, securely attached adult system should be self-regulated. About 70% of your own mood and your own control over your emotions is you alone. You solving your emotional challenges. That means lifestyle changes, adequate sleep, adequate nutrition, making sure you're getting your serotonin activities and your outdoor activities, sunlight. It also means using physical techniques to try to calm your body if you are stressed out, building a lifestyle conducive to better health and better mental health, building your own self-resilience 70%. Okay, there's a 30% co-regulation as social mammals that we're supposed to be doing with others. You can see this exhibited in animals when they're grooming each other, playing with each other, comforting each other, snuggling with each other. The things that social mammals do, mice, chimps, wolves, what they do to co-regulate by interacting, it's about 30%, okay? The research shows that a partner is probably about 10 to 15% of that, 10% on a given week, about 15% on a tougher week, and friends and family should be about 20% probably of that on a given week, and about 15%, probably step down a little bit as the partner focuses in on the difficult weeks. So 15 to 20% for family and friends. That's your whole network system. So your family friend network will co-regulate with you in a larger bulk than your partner, but your partner might be giving you concentrated bursts of co-regulation. 70, 15, 15, even if you want to just take that approach, that would work. Okay. When you're self-regulated, your conversations don't escalate into agitation or panic or anger. You can walk in calm and steady. Then the avoidant partner can relax without a fear of emotional ambush or of conversations going disastrously wrong. Remember that avoidant people are not used to solving problems with other people. They're used to having to pull away, solve problems around other people, then come back and pretend nothing happened, but the problem is solved. And that means they don't get vasopressin bonding either, which their brain is primed for. Even more than it's primed for oxytocin bonding, it's primed for vasopressin bonding instead. For anxious partners, often the women, they need the opposite. They need safety, genuine safety. This means consistency in communication, predictable responses, and emotional availability without harsh boundaries that prevent them from getting that reassurance and that co-regulation that they need. Okay? They need that connection back and forth. Notice that both of those actually are fairly similar. It's because what creates safety usually also creates peace. It's just that the two are looking to regulate a little bit differently. That's all. But the same environment will bring safety and peace for both partners. Here's a practical tip to keep in mind. Create a dedicated peace protocol in your relationship. This could be a verbally explicit arrangement where you both agree to only have calm, regulated conversations, especially about important topics. There will be no fighting, no accusations, just calm connection. And each of you must be actively engaging in proactive individual behavior patterns that foster neurological regulation for each of you. Both of you take full accountability for your 70% self-regulating. No engaging in any relationship discussions or even date nights without peace and calm. 70%. Okay? Yes, you can seek co-regulation and comfort at times when you most need it. When you're hurting, you can ask for some help, but you must build your capacity to manage your emotional reactions to create a peaceful resting place for both of you when you're together. This relationship must prioritize peace and safety for everything that comes next to work. And if it feels impossible for you to self-regulate your stress, anxiety, and responses, you need to get immediate professional assistance to get that under control. Your relationship is threatened by that lack of self-regulation. It's not your fault. You're not bad, but you never learn to self-regulate appropriately, and you must immediately for your own quality of life. Your relationship is threatened, but your quality of life is far, far lower than it needs to be on a daily basis. Ongoing suffering is not something that you should waste your time dealing with when there are so many effective tools and strategies to buffer you against your own emotional turbulence. Get your emotions under control, improve your own life, and yes, guard your relationship. Now, secret number 2, increase physical closeness through non-sexual touch. This is so important and so often overlooked in these couples. Many anxious partners try to connect through explicitly sexual touch, thinking it will create bonding. But that instead is a dopamine hit for avoidant partners. It does not create the bonding experience that you think it will. But non-sexual physical touch is a whole other story, and it works incredibly well with most avoidant people, men and women. Because for avoidant people, and yes, especially men, non-sexual physical touch is often their primary love language. Things like scalp massages, your fingernails even, back scratches, shoulder rubs, hand-holding, simple hugs without any expectation. Avoidants, they often reject traditional bonding attempts because they feel too intense emotionally and romantically, right? We're not going to go to dinner at an Italian restaurant, hold hands, and cry for an hour. That seems to be insane and stupid. So no, thank you, right? This physical approach, non-sexual physical approach, works without pressure because this type of touch releases serotonin and then helps them exit their sympathetic nervous system, especially if you've created that safe, calm environment for them for a while, which can then allow their oxytocin receptors to open up. They begin to relax and feel at peace with you. And then the physical touch, the massage, the scratchies, all of those things, begins to pump them full of oxytocin. For anxious partners, this approach in particular also creates the physical connection they crave without the fear of rejection that often comes with sexual advances. You also don't need to feel like you're trading sex for connection, which often makes a lot of anxious partners, especially women, feel ashamed or guilty. I'm just having sex to make sure that they love me. I just need to feel loved, quite often. Enjoy the benefits of the physical touch without the guilt. Do it this way and give it a try. As a practical tip, establish a daily 10-minute non-sexual touch ritual. This could be as simple as sitting together with your hand on their arm while watching TV, or rubbing your partner's shoulders every night after work to ease their muscle knots. You can even take turns back and forth caring for each other this way. Rub each other's shoulders, a process that's sometimes called mate maintenance or mutual grooming. You've seen chimps sit and pick bugs off each other and eat them. You've seen animals lick each other's ears and clean them. Humans should actually do the same thing. Maybe not licking the ears, but massaging your shoulders as you're watching a show and talking about your day, right? Give each other mutual, non-sexual, comforting touch in a calm environment where everybody has agreed to stay calm and self-regulated. This is enormous bonding opportunity right here. Care for each other physically and watch your bond intensify pretty fast. Now, secret number 3, develop precise, measurable communication. Anxious partners are usually quite adept at describing their emotional responses using highly emotional language. It's a great skill to have, and it's one that avoidant people don't usually have. They have a hard time expressing emotional matters. But these expressions are largely lost on avoidant people who spend all their time dissociating from their own emotions. Avoidants shut down when confronted with vague emotional expressions that to them makes no sense at all. So that high-level emotional communication skill works against anxiously attached partners when the other person doesn't speak that language. You might speak Swahili amazingly well. You might be the top speaker on the entire planet Earth. But if you are trying to speak to somebody who is purely from America and only speaks English, your entire skill set is lost on them. And if you can't speak adequate English to communicate with them, guess what? You're not going to have a conversation. I don't care if you've won awards for speaking incredible Swahili. You are never going to communicate appropriately with that English speaker until you learn English or they learn your language. Now, if you already speak some of their language, it's quicker for you to finish that up and grow in that skill set. And if they think there's no value in learning your language yet because they don't understand emotional matters at all, it's going to be hard to convince them to pick up a brand new language just for somebody that they're slowly not sure if they should connect with. Avoidance, in fact, it's worse than that. They shut down when they're confronted with that language. It makes no sense, and usually the only time they heard it was in childhood when someone weaponized it against them. When they hear emotional language, they start looking for the attack and the accusation that's coming and how you're going to hurt them, because that's what somebody did in their childhood. Emotional language makes them deeply uncomfortable, confused, sometimes even physically repulsed, where their desire for you begins to turn off. Instead, they understand clear, precise communication, which calms them because it's understood and measurable. They know exactly what's being talked about, asked for, and everything is so clear to them. It is crucial for the anxious partner to begin speaking in measurable, exact language to help them understand what they're saying. For example, instead of saying, "We don't spend time together anymore, and it's breaking my heart," to most people, that makes sense. To an avoidant person, they're going to say, "What do you mean? We spent like 5 minutes together yesterday picking out shoes," or "What do you mean? Like I asked you what you want for dinner on DoorDash. I was spending time together. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. We spent together this evening. You were playing your video game and I was watching this movie on my phone. We spent time together. What do you mean it's breaking your heart? I don't understand. Are you stressed? Are you not like getting a fix? Do you need stimulation? Like what is it? Why am I your only source of entertainment?" You're probably listening to this saying, "Oh my gosh, Adam just described my last 3 conversations with my boyfriend." This is why they don't understand that language. Remember, oxytocin gone. They don't know what it's like to have somebody break their heart usually. Sometimes they do, but not usually. Instead, clear, measurable language. Here's what it sounds like. "I've noticed we've spent less than 30 minutes talking this week about important things. And that has left me feeling pretty lonely. I'm definitely not at my best when I'm fighting that loneliness. Could we schedule an hour tomorrow night just for us to reconnect? Then you don't get the, what do you mean? We spent 5 minutes on DoorDash picking dinner. What do you mean? You were in the, I was sitting near you as you did your activities. Oh, we've spent less than 30 minutes talking about things this week that were kind of serious or important. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, we were only on DoorDash and you were watching a video. So, or you were playing a video game and I was watching a movie. Yeah, I guess that's true. And you're feeling lonely. Okay, well, I can understand loneliness. And you're not at your best when you're fighting loneliness. That's fair. That's fair. I'm glad you could own that. But yeah, no, I understand. Okay. And you want to schedule an hour tomorrow night just for us. Well, yeah, I can do that. I can slot it in at 7:00. How's that sound? Or, hey, tomorrow night, oh, that's fair. Tomorrow night's not right for me, but it sounds like this is a priority need. So how about the next night I can do 2 hours together? We'll grab a whole movie, blanket, popcorn, everything. Sound good? That's how they can respond measurably because they understand what's being asked. It's also, notice, not an accusation or an attack. We never spend time. It's wounding me. You've damaged me. Notice it's not happening. Using this measurable, precise language, it aligns perfectly with how an avoidant person's brain works and helps to continue that peaceful emotional environment that you're building together. Remember, this is stacking, okay? Peaceful, relaxed environment, non-sexual physical touch, opening up oxytocin receptors and getting some serotonin bonding going, and now measurable language. Notice I also included why that request was urgent. Your functioning is decreased because of this, but it's not their fault, and you're not attacking them. It's just that your functioning is going down. Ethical avoidant partners do usually care about your well-being, and they usually do want to help. They just don't equate emotions themselves to well-being. Like, okay, you're having a feeling. That's fine. I feel utterly terrified every single day of my life, and I'm always stressed out, and I'm always lonely, and I always have been, and I'm always in chronic pain, so I dissociate from it, so I'll never feel anything ever again. What do you want from me? Like, oh no, you were lonely for a day? Sorry, I've been lonely for 35 years. Like that's what's going on sometimes inside their brain. So the emotion makes no sense. Hey, I've noticed I'm becoming lonely and that's decreasing my functioning, and I want to be able to give you my best. Oh, shoot. I can't argue with that. I would also like to have your best. If you're telling me that your productivity and your emotional connection is tied together, then cool. Let's just beef that up. Helping him understand, him or her, really, the avoidant partner, understand the impact on your productivity makes you more relatable to them. And it gives them a tangible reason the feeling needs to be addressed. Now, for the anxious partners out there, okay, I can hear you. Why should I have to learn this language? Why should I have to talk like this? Why should I cater to their needs? I hear that a lot in the comment section. Not all of you, but a lot. Learning this communication style helps you actually get your needs met because communicating them does not trigger your partner's withdrawal. You're also going to get your needs met as you make them clearer, and the outcomes will improve for you as you get the 7 hours a week of romantic couple time that you need to feel fulfilled and productive versus him give you 45 minutes on a Sunday because he thinks you're just being clingy. Quality of life improves drastically for you and for everyone when people use measurable, exact language. It's going to help you at work as well. This clear, exact, measurable language, mandatory for professional relationships. So much better in friendships, so much better in communicating between people. Yes, you can use emotional language, and at times it can help. And the avoidant people usually over time, as they ease into this, begin learning some emotional language to express their experiences and then understand you. But the measurable language is mandatory. Everybody should learn it. Everyone should. It's just that avoidant people tend to overemphasize it because it's all they understand. Really, you should have a combination of both that you can swap back and forth between, and eventually that's what both of you will have. Now, as trust builds over time, yes, the avoidant partner, like I said, will start to feel their emotions more often, and they will begin trying to articulate them to you in a guarded but opening up conversation process. As this happens, they will gradually begin using more emotional language for new concepts they're experiencing. You can actually maybe guide them in that and supply the words. As they're struggling to articulate, you can say, maybe you're feeling this. Maybe you're thinking this, maybe this is what's happening. I know when I have that feeling, here's what it's like. Is that what's happening for you? You can slowly teach them your side of the emotional language. And in this way, vasopressin bonding, teaching a skill, but you'll also develop a blended communication style that works both of you back and forth for the rest of your lives. Practical tip to implement this. Write down any emotional statements you want to express, then translate them slowly into measurable requests before sharing them with your avoidant partner. This helps prevent the issue of misunderstandings, and it stops you from having to translate on the spot. When you're agitated and your left side brain diminishes in functioning and your language centers in the back left side, that lowers your language articulation skill. That's part of the reason that a lot of people have that challenge. You can also go on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I need to tell my avoidant partner this, in quotes, but I need it to be in a clear, precise, productive, measurable phrasing. Can you give me this? A lot of women today are turning to ChatGPT to translate what they're trying to say into clear, exact, measurable conversation pieces that you can then text him, or you can then read off to him or memorize and speak back. This is actually a very helpful tool. Think of ChatGPT as an amazing translator that happens to work in the same language, back and forth. Emotional and measurable are just a little bit different. It's just enough different that it's really important. You can use ChatGPT for this purpose. Plan ahead, though, for these conversations. Be calm. Again, calm, safe environment, the good physical connection, right? Clear, measurable communication. Make best use of that linguistic power and solve those problems. Secret number 4. Balance togetherness and independence, okay? Predictability reduces stress for both partners. Anxious partners need scheduled time and connection so that they don't panic and worry when they'll be a priority or if they're being abandoned. Avoidant partners need scheduled solitude so they don't feel trapped and they have time to recharge. One of the most powerful things an anxiously attached partner can do to co-regulate an avoidant partner's nervous system, and one of the best things that we can do to regulate and reassure an anxious partner, is to give them scheduled together and scheduled alone time. We have to prioritize this. This means that you will do a couple of things. Help the avoidant partner identify when they need to recharge. Schedule regular friend time for them, away from the relationship. Identify how much time you need together and when. Work together to negotiate a balance that keeps both sides fully charged, and create a predictable pattern of together and apart time with a clear schedule. You can fluctuate by the week as you need to for work schedules, but a clear, predictable pattern of when you're going to be together and when you're going to have separate time to breathe. For anxious partners, this creates security because you know exactly when you're going to get connection time, exactly when they're going to be responsive to you, exactly when you will be prioritized, and you know that you are prioritized during that time. For avoidant partners, knowing they have guaranteed space coming to recharge helps them fully engage during together time because they're not constantly feeling that bleed effect on their energy level and wondering when I'm going to get my time to breathe. Let me make this clear. When everybody knows where they stand and what's expected of them, you are co-creating an environment of peace for the avoidant and safety for the anxious partner. This loops back to that first point of creating a peaceful environment. This is an additional advanced step using time. Space and time is all crucial here. This is the space where oxytocin bonding can happen optimally because both partners are calm and steady. They're having their needs met in a way that makes sense to them and it serves their nervous systems. Practical tip for doing this: sit down and come up with a weekly schedule with clear together zones and independent zones that you both agree to honor in precise, measurable, clear language. Have exact, understandable, measurable targets for when you're together and when you're apart. Maybe he needs his guy nights on Thursday nights. You also should spend some time with friends or do a solo activity. Maybe it's your video game night, or it's your time to go to dinner with your mom or have coffee with your best friend, and he's out with his friends doing other activities, whatever it might be. You guys have those times separate, or he has his time where he's doing a hobby or taking a walk or meditating. He has that time marked out in his calendar. You also have exact times you will definitely be focused in together. No phones. This is not phone time. And if you happen to have other times where you're hanging out or you live together and you're hanging out and crashing on the couch, cool. But these are your focused couple dating moments where you are really prioritizing that romantic intimacy and connection. This is the difference. Deep romantic connection moments, independent moments. and then a jumble in between of work, life, passing in the hallway, squeezing each other's butt, having fun, making jokes, playing, whatever it might be. Scheduled focus time for the anxious, scheduled focus time for the avoidant. Now, secret number 5. Practice intentional reconnection. This is perhaps the most powerful secret of all. When things go wrong, and they will, reconnection is essential. It's how you grow the bond even from a breach. Many anxious people make the mistake of thinking, oh no, I showed my insecurity to them once. Now I have to be perfect forever and I can never slip up again. This creates a pressure cooker that eventually explodes. Instead, when you make a mistake or you experience a malfunction in the relationship or something goes wrong, either one of you really, acknowledge it. Take ownership. Hey, this happened. Okay, this took place. And especially taking ownership, this bothered me. This took place and it actually really bothered me. And here's why. Here's why my behavior bothered me specifically. Okay, taking ownership. Discuss what happened, the clear chain of events. This is not an excuse for what happened, but I want you to understand how it occurred so that we can plug that gap. Okay? You go in there and say, this is what happened. This is how it led up to it. Cool. Understood. Then you create a plan to do better next time. You plug the gap that allowed it. This is what I'm going to be doing going forward. And then actually implement that plan. Follow through. This is the proper pathway of an apology, by the way. This is calming to an anxious partner. When the avoidant partner runs away, they can come back and use this process and say, hey, look, I did that and it wasn't appropriate. It bothered me that I let myself get to that point. Here's the chain of events. Here's where I should have said something about my needing some space and breathing. Here's where I didn't. Next time I'm going to let you know in advance. We're also going to stick to the schedule of together and independent time because we missed that and I let that go. Here's what I'm going to do. And then they actually follow through. Trust renewed. Okay. Same thing the anxious person does. I let my emotions get away from me. That was very inappropriate. Here's where I let that go. Here's why my self-regulation dropped. Here's what I'm doing to improve that right now. I'm going to be talking to these 3 people, getting accountability. Boom. Okay. This shows the avoidant person that you honestly, legitimately mean that you are going to be tracking yourself diligently and changing. This is shocking to them. Now, this reconnection process not only builds oxytocin with vulnerability and trust, it also triggers vasopressin as you solve these problems together. And that creates an even deeper bond. Again, this process loops back to the first secret, because in the first secret, you're creating a safe space and a peaceful area. This practice confirms that you're both operating within a safe environment. Nobody is perfect. I'm certainly not. We all make mistakes. We all fall short. We all have problems. We're all consistently working on a new challenge that's stopping us from being our best self. It's lifelong. But when a mistake happens, you have to go through this process, own it, be responsible and trustworthy, and then you correct that mistake together. This confirms that you're in a peaceful environment, which then opens up the oxytocin receptors for the non-sexual physical touch and allows for more measurable communication that's really specific and allows for even more couples time and frankly, probably less craving for independent time, not zero, but less craving for it because they're actually starting to regulate with you. Over time, an avoidant person will actually accept more co-regulation. Usually starts off 99% self-regulating, 1% co-regulating with dopamine with you is usually what they look for. And over time, their oxytocin receptors, as they open up, shift and want more, then they open back up to that full process of 70-30. So understand that process can come. But to get there, you have to loop and loop and loop and loop through all 5 of these secrets. Pro tip here, you're going to need more than just your partner for this relationship to work. Hyperfixation on one person creates an increased anxiety response in all social mammals, as that oxytocin bond focuses on only that one source. And you will be hypervigilant. You'll be nervous. You'll be less likely to admit faults because you're afraid of losing that one person. It's also completely documented in scientific proof again and again and again that the best way to alter your behavior is with external accountability. That does not mean making your partner police you all the time. It means having accountability partners, maybe a friend, an aunt, a cousin, a sibling, a parent even, a religious or spiritual leader of some kind, a therapist, a coach, having other people that keep you accountable so your partner can relax and not have to be on guard all the time. Make sure you've got several secure family and friend connections outside of this romantic bond so you have less pressure on that connection. That's like a bonus secret number 6. Your life around you is what's actually going to build you that safe, fulfilling relationship. This will give you the room you need to apologize calmly and admit fault. It also gives you other people who can help keep you accountable for implementing those changes to follow through on the plans you make for improvement. That removes the pressure from your partner, but it also brings you a much higher quality of life that you actually get to enjoy as you are continuously changing, improving, and growing. And a lot of anxiously attached people have a problem with self-respect. This enhances your self-respect as you get to watch yourself grow amazingly. Now, these 5 secrets, as they may seem simple, but they work together to create a profound neurobiological change in both partners. As you implement them consistently, you'll notice subtle shifts at first. Perhaps your avoidant partner lingers a little longer during a hug or initiates a conversation about their day without prompting. These small moments signal that oxytocin receptors are beginning to open and real bonding is taking place. The beauty of this approach is that it creates a constant reinforcement cycle. As your avoidant partner experiences the calm pleasure of secure connection, they're naturally going to seek more of it. That reinforces the secure behaviors that strengthen your bond together. This isn't about manipulating someone into acting securely. It's also not about the anxious partner having to stick their neck out and do endless catering that they're hating that drains your life. Okay? This is about creating conditions where secure attachment can flourish naturally for both of you. By doing these 5 things, the anxious partner builds such incredible high quality of life for themselves. I don't want anyone in the comments to be complaining about how this is endlessly catering to the other person or exhausting or why should I have to do all the work. This is about your life getting better. Now, I want to be really, really clear. This is higher quality of life for you. But if you don't fix this, if you don't learn this pattern, this cycle will repeat, the negative cycle, in every relationship you ever have. So if you're an anxious partner watching this right now, now is the time to build this pattern. Everything I have told you here today is actually how to practice secure attachment. I know the video title says how to get your avoidant partner to bond with you. This is practicing secure attachment. It turns out that the secret to building a relationship with an avoidantly attached partner who's ethically avoidant is to be securely attached. So doing this method is secure attachment, you guys. You ask me all the time, how do I get to secure attachment? This. Don't miscategorize it as doing the work for your partner. That is that self-martyring mentality, and it's resentment creeping up. Don't go in that area. Some of you will. Please don't. Build this for you, and the avoidant partner will likely join you in it. That's the secret. So if you apply these 5 secrets, you will experience real lasting love, even if you are in an anxious avoidant relationship. You can build the kind of relationship where you don't have to beg for attention if you're anxious, or where connection feels unnatural to you, avoidant. Instead, you'll finally feel secure and at peace, both of you. That's because these 5 secrets work by addressing the biological reality of anxious and avoidant relationships, by creating a peaceful and safe environment using appropriate physical touch, communicating precisely, balancing togetherness and independence, and practicing intentional reconnection. You can rewire your connection patterns and build lasting happiness in your relationships. Now, I have helped thousands of couples transform their relationships using these exact strategies, and I know that they work. Secure attachment is not just a potential possibility out there. With the right knowledge, guidance, and tools, secure attachment becomes inevitable, no matter what attachment issues you're currently struggling with. I do know how challenging it can be to embrace new strategies, though. And I know how hard it can be to believe that things can be different when you're caught in deeply ingrained attachment patterns. That's why I would love for you to join me at my attachment immersion retreat on May 1st to the 4th in Vail, Colorado. Here you will have the opportunity to work directly with me to break free from the destructive, anxious, avoidant cycles once and for all. You don't have to continue struggling in this painful push-pull cycle. You're exhausted from constant misunderstandings, the heartbreak of unmet needs, and worry over the fate of your relationship. It does not have to be this way. If you're finally ready to break free from the attachment patterns that are keeping your relationship stuck, Then join me for 5 intensive days where I'll show you how to end this dynamic for good so you can start on the path to real lasting change. At the retreat, I'll personally guide you through the exact neurobiological reprogramming techniques that have helped thousands of couples transform their anxious-avoidant relationships into secure bonds. You'll experience these oxytocin bonding techniques in action with my direct guidance to ensure you're implementing them correctly, and you will leave more bonded than ever before. Spots are very limited due to the personalized nature of this hands-on experience, and we're selling fast. So visit adamlanesmith.com today or click the link below to find out how you can secure your place. If this has been helpful, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I'll see you in the comments.